us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now, when the devil brought sin into the world, he did not only affect people, he infected and affected the systems of this world. And so whatever systems exist in the world, including our own humanity, has been infected by the virus of satanic influence. So you and I need to be protected from every kind of influence that the devil has in every system with which he is associated. And Satan's goal is to break us up from fellowship with God, because if he can accomplish that, he can mess up everything else. He wants to separate us from fellowship with God. James chapter 1 verse 13 says that God does not tempt any man. But here we are making a request for God not to lead us into temptation. Well, what God leads you into are trials. Trials are adverse circumstances, negative events that God allows to happen specifically for your spiritual development. Now, temptations is designed to defeat you spiritually and separate you further from God. Trials and temptations are usually the same event. He will take something legitimate and make it illegitimate. So, for example, Satan will take food and try to turn it into gluttony. He will take sex and try to turn it to immorality. He will take money and try to turn it into debt, theft, greed. He will take something that God designed and try to mix with it and mess it up for you experientially. So he will take a trial and throw in a temptation so that what God designed for your development will then become for your defeat. Lead us not into temptation. What we are asking is, lead us not into situations that we can't handle, and deliver us from evil. So peradventure, if we have already gotten into such situations, deliver us from evil. James chapter 1 verse 14 to 15, the Bible says, but each one is tempted when he is carried away and enticed by his own lust. Then when lust has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And when sin is accomplished, it brings forth death. So this is how it works, friends. Satan takes a craving from something outside of the will of God in you. Then he makes it attractive to you and makes you want it even more. The craving is already in you, but he makes it intense. Then he can assign a demon to you to amplify that craving outside of the will of God. And this is what leads to compromise in our perspective, where something sinful becomes something simple. So sin is reduced to a mistake, a weakness, and then it produces an excuse. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has a weakness. This is because the demonic agent assigned to that tendency that is expressed through the desire is at work. Friends, the desire is not a sin. The fact that your flesh wants to sin is not a problem, because that's what the flesh does. The decision to act on the desire is what leads to disobedience against God's standard. And it says that sin brings forth death. In other words, it separates you. So here's the lesson. Don't give sin the attention that it asks for. Change your focus. And what you focus on will control you. Every time you were tempted, every time you're in a trial, focus on the goodness of God. Recognize the pattern of sin, but focus on the goodness of God. And focus on the faithfulness of God. James chapter 1 verse 16. Do not be deceived, my beloved brother. Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of light, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. In the exercise of his will, he brought us forth by the word of truth, so that we would be a kind of first fruit among his creatures. Remember, Satan's goal is to break us up from fellowship with God. And if he can accomplish that, he can mess up everything else. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Have a blessed day, friends.
And is covering me now. The eyes of my enemy cannot see me. With safety you surround your people as a